This is Daily Armenia, ＳիվիլNeթ's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Armenian and Azerbaijani foreign ministries posted yesterday the full contents of the normalization deal that their countries had agreed upon earlier this March. The announcement follows Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan and Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev's visit to Washington on Friday, where they signed a joint declaration of peace and put their initials on the text of the agreement. This step does not yet make the treaty legally binding, and the final signing date remains unclear, as Aliyev insists Armenia must first amend its constitution, which he claims includes territorial assertions over Nagorno-Karabakh. The document, titled Agreement on Establishment of Peace and Interstate Relations, consists of 17 articles. It confirms that the borders between the former Soviet republics are now the international borders of the respective independent states, directly addressing the long-standing border dispute between Yerevan and Baku. The parties affirm that they have no territorial claims against each other and pledge not to raise such claims in the future. They also commit to refraining from the use or threat of force against one another's territorial integrity or political independence. Under the treaty, neither side may allow forces of a third party to be stationed along the shared border, reportedly a demand from Azerbaijan aimed at ending the European Union's civilian monitoring mission on the Armenian side, which Baku has long criticized. The agreement also includes provisions to address cases of missing persons and to withdraw, dismiss, or otherwise settle all interstate claims, protests, and legal proceedings that predate the signing, though this does not preclude new claims from being filed in the future. As anticipated, the agreement omits a provision for a transit route through Armenia's Syunik province, a long-standing Azerbaijani demand for a land link to its Nakhichevan exclave. The two countries agreed last August to drop this clause from the treaty and address the issue separately. During Friday's Washington event, Armenia and the United States reached an understanding for Washington to oversee and invest in the project, now dubbed the Trump Route for International Peace and Prosperity. Similarly, the treaty contains no provisions on the return of Armenians to Nagorno-Karabakh or Azerbaijanis to Armenia proper, the latter being a narrative Aliyev has promoted in recent years as a counterbalance to potential Armenian demands regarding the return of Karabakh Armenians. In an interview with ＳիվիլՆեթ yesterday, Armenian Economy Minister Gevorg Papoyan revealed that American private and state representatives will soon visit Armenia to conduct research on major infrastructure projects discussed during the Prime Minister's recent Washington visit. These projects include roads, railways, and potential gas and oil pipelines in southern Armenia. Before this, the government had already commissioned consulting firms like Tetra Tech and McKinsey to analyze the development potential of Armenia's railway network. We've also involved the World Bank, and just last Friday held a meeting to advance economic feasibility studies, Papoyan said. These studies will consider cargo volumes, necessary investments, and expected revenues. Regarding recent diplomatic developments, Papoyan defended Armenia's approach to peace negotiations, saying that Armenia received a document that promises and creates quite realistic institutional foundations for finally having peace. He argued that ending Armenia's state of war or semi-war would improve the investment climate and make the country more attractive to tourists. Papoyan specifically stressed that these projects have not only economic but also security significance for Armenia. If millions of tons of cargo are transported through Armenia's territory from Great Britain, Germany, or France to China and back, then these countries, as well as multi-billion-dollar corporations involved in this process, will be interested in maintaining stability in the region, he explained. On the dissolution of the Minsk Group, a mediation platform created in the early 1990s to address the Karabakh conflict, Papoyan was dismissive. What has the Minsk Group been doing for 30 years? He characterized it as having zero effectiveness and zero viability, and called its dissolution in exchange for peace progress a very successful deal. Addressing controversies surrounding Armenia's electric networks and billionaire Samvel Karapetyan's assets, Papoyan defended the state's intervention. He described frequent power outages affecting businesses and consumers, including incidents at the Ministry of Economy itself. A businessman has to get a license from the ministry. He comes to get the papers, but we say we can't give you the license because we don't have electricity. Papoyan illustrated the problem's impact on the investment environment. While acknowledging the lack of documented studies on the energy crisis, he argued that continued blackouts posed greater risks to investor confidence than state intervention. On a positive note, Papoyan reported strong agricultural performance, with apricot exports growing 60% and substantial increases expected in tomato production. Most brandy export problems through Georgia have been resolved, with delays reduced from months to days. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 3. This is because the joint US-Armenian military exercise called Eagle Partner kicked off today in Armenia for the 3rd year in a row. The exercise involves servicemen from Armenia's Armed Forces, Peacekeeping Brigade, US Army forces in Europe and Africa, and the Kansas National Guard. The drill's goal is to enhance interoperability between units participating in international peacekeeping missions, facilitate exchange of best practices in command and tactical communications, and improve the readiness of Armenian peacekeeping units. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.